And getting them out will be a bloody story. Should have never been allowed to come into our country.
As we launch into a discussion about the mass deportations to come, I just thought it was important for you to see that clip again, because that's before he was elected president again, campaigning on how he's gonna round up millions of people, many of whom have been living in America for years, maybe decades, contributing to companies, participating in friend groups and all of that. And he's saying to a crowd, it's gonna be a bloody story. He chose that word. He repeated that word in other speeches. He wanted them to know, no, you're not only gonna get what you want, which is everybody who doesn't look like you is gonna be banned from the country, but some of them are gonna die along the way. That's the promise he made. And a lot of them are on board. Now I'm gonna show you the numbers, and for each of you, you're gonna have to decide, is this good news or bad news when you see these numbers? So PRRI did a poll, I think it's a Public Religion Research Institution, about what people think about the military being deployed across America to round up undocumented immigrants and put them into camps. They're referred to as just camps. They're quite literally concentration camps. And I think it's important that we use accurate language on this show. So 26% of all voters said yes, we should use the military to do that. 46% of Republicans agreed, 19% of independents, 8% of Democrats were like, Donald Trump's coming in, he's saying he wants to use the military to round up people and it's gonna be a bloody story. I could get on board with that. Now that, to me, all of those numbers seem horrifying. That said, what would we have predicted they'd be? I don't know. Only 46% of Republicans agree that the military should do that, which means that the majority of Republicans either disagree or aren't sure. Is that good news at this point as we descend into fascism? The fact that only 1/4 of the Americans you pass by on the street every day believe the military should scour American streets and homes to find those damned immigrants and get rid of them. Is that good? I don't know. These are not rhetorical questions, by the way, Sabrina. Is this good or bad? Because it seems pretty bad objectively, but what do you think?
It's evil. It's history repeating itself. And I think a lot of these people don't understand that the racism that fuels this is not going to just impact the undocumented people. They're going to start pulling anybody, who fits the bill. And eventually they're going to expand it to more than just undocumented, Mexicans and Latinos. Like, this is just the beginning. This is the first domino. So it's scary to think about. Using the word bloody, kind of paints a picture, and that does rile up a certain percentage of his base, and it's scary. I'm not looking forward to it. It's kind of the same vibes as the what did he say to the Proud Boys before? Like, stand by, stand aside. Like, it's just another dog whistle. And that's what his base wants. So scary times.
Yeah. And by the way, the PRRI survey also, they did some tests that you can do. There's a battery of questions to find out, the predisposition that individual people have to authoritarianism. How appealing is an authoritarian form of government? And those with high authoritarian views were 6 times more likely to endorse putting undocumented immigrants into camps than American voters who reject authoritarianism. And I don't want to get into a big, like pedantic thing about academia, like an academic thing about like making your poll questions and everything, but like at the same time that you're like testing people for authoritarianism and then asking them whether they're okay with the military rounding up immigrants and putting them in camps, I kind of also feel like that could be one of the measures for authoritarianism, because I don't know what other reaction we're supposed to have to that. If you believe that the US military should be deployed inside of America, which is not what it's supposed to do, by the way, and it should go door to door, knocking on doors and checking people's paperwork, and then taking people and throwing them in the back of wagons and stuff and shipping them to the border in Texas, you're an authoritarian. You just are. And that's me being polite. There are other words, fashy words, that I think also perfectly fit that. Now, like we've been having this debate across the country about whether it's appropriate to use that terminology. I don't think, like, at the end of the day, there are people who disagree with the term fascist being applied to this. I don't think that they actually substantively believe it's an inaccurate description. They just don't like to hear it. But that's what it is. You don't get to send the army into Detroit or Pittsburgh or whatever and not have that be a signal that you prefer fascism to the democratic republic form of government that we've had. That's just not how it works. You can't be cool with blanketing the border with concentration camps, with soft-sided tents to hold families, maybe including US citizens before we send them out. Maybe to the countries they're from decades ago, countries maybe that they've never been to because they were born here. Maybe just random countries, because that's literally what the Trump administration has been saying they're gonna do. If we can't send them to where they're from, I don't know, we send them to the Dominican Republic or whatever. This is inherently authoritarian, and we're gonna see it. Because this is gonna be one of their priorities. This is what they're gonna try to do, Sabrina. It's dark, but it's true at the same time. Any other thoughts?
No, absolutely. If you list out the defining characteristics of fascism, then those on the right are going to be like, yeah, of course we're going to implement those. That means we're strong, we're nation, etc. But if you call it fascism, then they're like, oh no, that's not us. I mean, they're smart enough to know, or manipulative enough to know that that is a bad word with an evil connotation. And yet they're fine with everything that goes into it because it keeps them, in power in such a hateful way. So yeah, not looking forward to the future here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the actual box filled up with all these policies. They don't like that the label says fascism. They want to put a sticker that says MAGA on top of it. They don't want to change any of what's inside of it. It's just like, oh, the connotations, I don't know. The implications, I should say, for fans of Sunny. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.